When a narcissist realizes they've lost control over you, they won't disappear quietly. They'll unleash one final, calculated move, not to win you back, but to break you. Carl Jung uncovered a chilling truth most people overlook. It's not when you're weak that you're in danger, it's when you finally found your strength. Because strength, real, internal strength, is what narcissists fear most. It threatens the very illusion they've built their identity around. And when that illusion cracks, they strike. But before we talk about that final attack, you need to understand the psychological game they've been playing all along. Jung described narcissists as masters of projection. They take the parts of themselves they cannot face and assign them to you. So when they felt weak, they made you feel weak. When they felt lost, they made you feel confused. And as long as you accepted that script, they stayed in control. But then something shifted. You started setting boundaries. You stopped explaining yourself. You began choosing peace over approval. That's when Jung said the power inversion occurs. The narcissist no longer feels dominant, and it terrifies them. According to Jung, this inversion sparks a crisis in the narcissist's identity. They're not just losing control over you, they're being forced to confront who they are without control. And that is something they've spent their entire lives avoiding. You see, narcissists aren't searching for love, they're searching for fuel, validation, attention, and emotional energy that confirms their inflated sense of superiority. When you were uncertain, dependent, and desperate for their approval, you were the perfect source of that fuel. But when you stopped playing along, you became a threat, a mirror they couldn't manipulate. Jung called this shift ego destabilization, and here's where it gets dark. When a narcissist can't regain control through charm, guilt, or intimidation, they escalate. They begin attacking not your weaknesses, but your strengths. Yes, the very parts of yourself you've worked hardest to build now become their new target. They'll say things like, "You've changed. You're so selfish now. Success has made you arrogant." Sound familiar? Jung warned that this isn't random. It's deliberate. They're using your growth as a weapon, trying to make you feel ashamed of becoming strong. Jung called this tactic strength shaming. It's designed to confuse you, to make you question the very traits that set you free. If you found your voice, they'll call you loud or aggressive. If you learn to say no, they'll call you cold. If you finally believe in yourself, they'll accuse you of thinking you're better than everyone else. If you have so many meaning and trenditation by the population that are muning the die. But it doesn't stop there. When strength-shaming fails, they reach for something even more manipulative, as the costs. What Jung described as nostalgic manipulation. Nostalgic, they don't just attack your present. They try to rewrite your past. You used to be so much fun. Remember when we laughed more? I miss the real you, before all this therapy. It's subtle, it's emotional, and it's dangerous. Because what they're really saying is, I miss the version of you I could control. Carl Jung warned that this is a psychological form of time travel, not to relive memories, but to drag you back into the identity that kept you small. They don't long for connection. They long for dominance. And if you're not aware of what's happening, you might start missing that old version of yourself too. But Jung's insight doesn't end there, because when nostalgic manipulation fails, narcissists escalate to their most dangerous weapon yet: manufactured vulnerability. Strongling, they provably drew by these comagings, and they leave the driving, the version. Suddenly they're fragile, They're lost. They're struggling. And right when you're thriving, when you finally reclaimed your peace, they create a crisis that forces you to choose between their pain and your progress. Nostalgic, Jung didn't call this coincidence. He called it strategy. Nostalgic, easy as according to Jung, narcissists keep mental records. They know exactly what triggers your empathy, what makes you feel guilty, and what will convince you to lower your guard. They exploit this. They weaponize your compassion. And worse, they often manufacture the very crisis they want you to solve. They'll sabotage their relationships, their career, their health, just enough to pull you back in. You'll hear, "I don't have anyone else. I'm falling apart. You're the only one who understands me." But none of this is about connection. It's about control. Jung found that these crises serve two purposes. First, to recast you in the caretaker role. Second, to prove they still have power over you. Because if you give in, if you abandon your new boundaries to save them, you're not just helping, you're sacrificing your strength. They don't want your help, they want your surrender. No. A fortunate of Vision's Carl Jung. Carl Jung observed that narcissists will ask you to compromise the exact values you fought to reclaim. "I know you don't usually lend money, but this time it's serious. I get you need space, but I really need you right now. I know you're focusing on yourself, but can't you just do this one thing?" Each "just this once" is designed to chip away at your identity, to make you doubt what you've built, to test if they can still bend your will. Jung warned, they aren't asking for support. They're asking for proof that they still matter more than your healing. And if you fall for it, you don't just lose progress, you lose clarity, confidence, and maybe even yourself. But here's what makes this trap so effective. The crisis might be real. The pain might be real. But Jung discovered they are experts at choosing which pain to show you and when. They could reach out to others. They could seek professional help. They could use the resources available to them. But they come to you because they know you're the most likely to sacrifice your boundaries for their comfort. So, how do you protect yourself from this final, most manipulative move? Carl Jung offered a powerful concept: differentiated compassion. It means you can care without carrying. You can feel their pain without feeling responsible for healing it. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." So when a narcissist shows up in crisis, you ask yourself one question: does helping them bring me closer to who I'm meant to be, or does it pull me back into someone I've already outgrown? Because not all help is healing, and not all love is healthy. Jung's final insight about narcissists might shift how you see every relationship. They fear your strength not because it harms them, but because it exposes them. It reflects the growth they refused, the healing they avoided, and the authenticity they abandoned in exchange for control. So when you refuse to shrink, when you hold your boundaries even when it hurts, you're not just protecting yourself, you're becoming a living mirror of what they could have become. And that terrifies them. Jung said that real power isn't about domination, it's about authenticity. It's about choosing truth, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. So the next time a narcissist tries their final dirty trick, remember this: their manipulation isn't a sign of your weakness, it's proof of your evolution. Because the moment they realize they can't control you is the moment your real life begins. Thank you so much for staying with me through this deep exploration. If this message resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more insights into psychology and personal growth. And don't forget to share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Because sometimes recognizing manipulation is the first step toward true freedom.
Remember,
Your strength is your power. Protect it, honor it, and never let anyone dim your light. See you in the next video.